I already made you a presenter, Alfred Sikuku, so you can be able to share your presentation.
Yes, we can see it.
If you can be able to see, please mute yourself. And today's presentation is on tax amnesty, and it's going to be presented by Alfred. So you're all welcome to listen and ask your question afterwards. Welcome, Alfred.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Hello and welcome. I'm glad you could all join us for today's sensitization on the tax amnesty program. My name is Alfred Sikuku from the Domestic Taxes Department at the Kenya Revenue Authority, KRA. KRA is an agency of the government of Kenya that is responsible for the assessment, collection, and accounting of all revenues that are due to the government in accordance with the laws of Kenya. And our vision is to be a globally trusted revenue agency facilitating tax, customs compliance. So once again, karibu. So I'm here today to take you through. Could you confirm if these slides are moving? Are we on the next slide?
Pardon?
Confirm if the slides are moving.
They are moving.
Okay. Sure. So I'm here to take you through all that you need to know concerning the tax amnesty program. And specifically in today's session, we'll cover what is the tax amnesty, why do we have the tax, when does the tax amnesty apply, who qualifies for the tax amnesty, how do I apply for the tax amnesty, and lastly, we'll look at where to go for additional support on the tax amnesty. So if you've been asking yourself any of these questions, trust that you're in the right place, as we are going to cover each of these items shortly. So firstly, what is the tax amnesty? So the Finance Act 2023 introduced a new section 37E to the Tax Procedures Act, which grants tax amnesty. And the tax amnesty program grants taxpayers relief from penalties, interest, and fines based on prescribed conditions that come with the program, and we shall discuss those today. Further, the tax amnesty applies to penalties, to interest, and to fines for all taxes administered under the Tax Procedures Act and for tax period, with the exception of penalties that are imposed under Section 85 of the Tax Procedures Act, and interest and penalties or fines that have not yet been confirmed in the system, and also with the exception of penalties, interest, and fines that relate to periods after 31st December 2022. So let's look at why we have the tax amnesty program. We understand how stressful it can be to have tax arrears, and we also understand the anxiety that comes from constantly accruing penalties and interest on
Sorry,
unpaid
Alfred.
taxes.
Please, can you please mute yourself? There is someone talking on the background. Please mute yourself.
Projections.
Okay. Sorry about that. I think the audio is not clear.
I think we are good to proceed.
Thank you. So let's look again at why we have the tax amnesty program, and said that we understand the anxiety that comes when we constantly accruing penalties and interest on unpaid taxes and not knowing where to start. So the tax amnesty program pops the hood open for you and fixes your engine, remove that check engine light you've been running with and that has been constantly nagging. We say that the tax amnesty program presents a unique opportunity for you to remedy any past tax concerns that you may have.
Sorry, Alfred, for this. Someone has already unmuted himself. Please mute yourself, kindly. Angela, please mute yourself. There's someone else. Kindly mute yourself. Darren, please. Elizabeth, kindly mute yourself.
Wanachunga bwana, pesa hawezi kula. Josephine. Hakuna. Wako tu kama sisi. Sisi wakati kila
Sorry, Alfred. I think you can unmute
hapa
yourself.
tukwanga ungekula pesa yetu ya panda.
All right. So while we're still here,
Unajua kila.
Mchokora mwingine huko.
Chokora tu kama wewe.
Can you kindly mute yourself, please? Please unmute yourself. I mean, mute yourself so that we can
Neti
proceed.
inasumbua. Network inasumbua. Ati?
It, can we mute ourselves
Hata
so that we can
ingine
have a
network
smooth
inasumbua sumbua ina
engagement, please? Kindly.
meeting.
Everyone.
Okay, I trust it's under control. I beg your pardon. I was to give us, while we're here, one more reason why we should consider the tax amnesty program. And the Finance Act 2023, while introducing the tax amnesty in Section 37E of the Tax Procedures Act, what happened is that also provisions for waiver application and processing were repealed. And in short, therefore, what that means is that we shall no longer continue to enjoy waiver of penalties and interest like we used to. So you remember how in the past, for example, you'd incur a penalty or interest, and then you'd make application for waiver. And with the application, you'd give the commissioner reasons to consider for your waiver application. And the waiver would be granted based on certain demonstrated hardships that you have encountered in your business. This is what we're saying is no longer applicable with the current laws, with enactment of the Finance Act 2023. And so here's more reasons why you want to consider the tax amnesty. For any note takers, you want to look at the changes that were introduced to our Tax Procedures Act, Section 89, paragraph 6, 7, and 8, and also look at what was repealed concerning tax abandonment, or we called it tax write-off, in Tax Procedures Act, Section 37. So once again, just to state, the tax amnesty program presents a unique opportunity for you to remedy any past tax concerns. When does the tax amnesty apply? So the tax amnesty commences on the 1st of September 2023 and runs up to the 30th of June 2024. So right now we are right in between the tax amnesty period. And I believe that you have sufficient time to do all that you have to do to benefit from the tax amnesty program by the 30th of June 2024. Do not be like other Kenyans who I know who will wait for the last day to start running around asking what did they say, where do I go, what do I do? But I'm glad that is not you today on this call, because you're all here in the first month of the tax amnesty program to get as much information as is available about the program. So once again, note that the tax amnesty commences the 1st September 2023 and runs up to the 30th of June 2024. And while we're still here, a few more dates to take note of. We have said that the tax amnesty applies to tax periods that are prior to the 31st of December 2022. Let's therefore look at who qualifies for the tax amnesty. I would like for us to understand that we have two categories of taxpayers who shall qualify for the tax amnesty. And the first category are taxpayers without principal taxes for the periods prior to 31st December 2022. And in this category, without principal taxes, they get to qualify automatically and have amnesty applied to the penalties and interest for the periods prior to the 31st of December 2022. And the second category of taxpayers who will qualify for the tax amnesty are taxpayers with principal taxes for the same period we've mentioned, period prior to 31st December 2022. And these category of taxpayers shall be required to submit an application to the Commissioner for Tax Amnesty and propose a payment plan to clear the outstanding principal tax before 30th of June 2024. And so while we are still here, allow me to clarify further on these different items of taxes we are talking about. We're talking of principal tax, penalties, interest. So allow me to help you distinguish between principal, penalty, and interest. The principal tax is the amount of tax declared in your assessment. So, for example, 30% of your declared profits for your corporation. Or for your rental income, it's 10% of the gross rent received in that month, or the monthly rental income obligation. So that is the principal tax, the amount of tax declared in that assessment. If you happen, for example, to file your return late, that is after the due date for whatever obligation. So, for example, VAT return filed past 20th of the following month, then you're charged a late filing penalty. If you happen, for example, to make payment, I'll take that again. If you happen to fail to make payment by the due date, then you incur interest on the amount of principal tax that remains unpaid. So that's what we mean when you say principal tax, penalty, and interest, for example. And so it's that principal tax aspect that you're required to settle in full before the 30th of June 2024, and then benefit with an amnesty of the penalty and of the interest amount. Let's look at how to apply for the tax amnesty. We expect that in the course of the month of September, an amnesty application form shall be availed in the iTax system, and that the system shall allow you to propose a payment plan to clear the outstanding principal tax for periods prior to 31st December 2022. Recall that we've said the category of taxpayers required to make application are those with principal taxes owing. And so the system shall allow you to propose a payment plan to clear the outstanding principal tax. And so we invite you to consider and put up a reasonable installment arrangement to clear the principal taxes that you owe for the targeted period for the amnesty. And note that the amnesty shall be granted for periods where the principal tax is paid in full before the 30th of June 2024. Next, let's look at where to go in case you need additional support with the tax amnesty program. We invite you to visit your tax service office or any of our offices countrywide for assistance that you require. For more information on what we just covered today, I invite you to visit the KRA website, kra.go.ke, and there's guidelines on tax amnesty that are hosted on the website. Also, would you be willing to update your contact details in iTax? Because this will go a long way to ensure that communication from us reaches you promptly and is delivered to the correct address. A few more considerations for us. Firstly, we encourage you to submit all your tax returns in all your registered obligations for the period prior to 31st December 2022 and benefit from the amnesty. And just a quick clarification on cases affected by VAT special table. We also invite you to resolve whatever circumstances led to the PIN being placed on the special table. And as you are discharged from the special table and file whatever necessary returns and make proper tax declarations, you will also benefit from the tax amnesty program for the periods that are prior to the 31st of December 2022. We encourage you also to make correct tax declarations and pay any principal taxes due by the 30th of June 2024 and benefit from the tax amnesty program. We also encourage you to step up resolution of tax disputes before the 30th of June 2024 and benefit from the amnesty program. And in case you have erroneous entries in your ledger, then we ask that you hasten reconciliation of the erroneous entries by submitting all requisite documents in good time so that you can get to benefit from the tax amnesty program. In case we do not reach us, and with that, I'll hand the presentation back to our hosts.
Thank you very much, Alfred, for the well presentation that you've offered. I hope everyone has understood, like, has gotten the aspect of amnesty. And we are heading straight to the Q&A session. And if you have any question, please channel them to the chat box. And I've seen Joseph. Joseph was asking about yesterday's recording on understanding items. Tomorrow we are going to be having a training on understanding items, so you can join the one for tomorrow. For now, we can work on the amnesty. Yeah. So Stephen, we have several questions here, and number one, someone is asking, are the liabilities declared from iTax? The liabilities declared from iTax if you paid all the principal taxes. Declared from iTax if you paid. Okay. I don't know how that person meant exactly. Cleared. He meant cleared. Are the liabilities cleared from iTax if you paid all the principal taxes? That's the question.
So
Another one is, how about people with no principal tax? Nil.
okay.
Nil returns, but have penalties for late filings. They're asking if they can be waived on penalties for late filing.
Okay.
Or it's something that is meant to be kept later on. Someone also is asking, is the amnesty applicable to late payment penalties charged? I don't know. Can we work on those questions? Ask Ama. I just tell you. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. So first of all, tax system when you pay all principal taxes. If you have, then we said that's the first category of taxpayers who qualify. Only that the targeted period is for periods before 31st December returns filed. If they happen to have been filed late and incurred late filing penalties, then those also qualify for the programs is nil. And so having no principal taxes owing, then the penalties, no interest actually, just the penalties qualify for the tax amnesty for those nil returns.
So I can press.
Sorry, there's something about the application form.
Yeah.
Been available in iTax, a major enhancement in the system to avail this form, hopefully this September. So very soon, the form shall be in iTax. But if one should wish to take up this amnesty offer today, then you can visit your tax service office and there'll be a manual process to assist you undertake the amnesty. And then, yes, the amnesty also applies to late payment penalties that are being charged. The amnesty applies to penalties, interest, and fines. The only exception are penalties charged under Section 85 of the Tax Procedures.
Okay. So I think that was the main question of concern. Like I can see people were asking on the same is the amnesty applicable to late payment penalties charged? Is the amnesty applicable to late tax filing related penalties charged? Same question. I hope everyone has understood that, because I think everyone was asking on that. And then someone is also asking, how about people with no principal tax? I think it's the same question on penalties for late filing. Yeah, and but penalties for late filing, this will have automatic amnesty. Will not need to make application for amnesty. I think they're just relating with penalties with amnesty. I don't know. If you can clarify for them still,
Okay.
because I think that's the main concern for them.
Okay. So, if you should forget everything you've talked about today, then let's only remember two things. One, that the amnesty applies for all tax heads that are administered under the Tax Procedures Act and for periods prior to 31st December 2022. And that it applies to penalties, interest, and where there is no principal tax for those periods, then you need not make application. The tax amnesty shall be applied automatically by the system, and you'll see that on your ledger, and you'll also get a confirmation in your emails. Then for those we invite to make application are taxpayers who have principal taxes owing for those periods, and with the application, there'll be a way to propose a payment plan so that you get to clear your way of installments. And upon clearing the full principal tax, then you also get to benefit for amnesty of the penalties, interest, and fines.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't see more questions, but there is this person who was asking also how soon. I believe you've been answered. You've been told if you want it easily, like very fast, you visit the train station. But if you will wait by December, you'll have it on our tax portals. So I don't know if someone else has another question. There's this one also, Mr. Alfred. Can the amnesty be granted arising from an erroneous liability like MRI, but has been filing the nil returns?
Yes, so there's two ways to go about that. Firstly, even though it's an erroneous obligation for your monthly rental income, so for as long as those periods are prior to 31st December 2022, they'll still...
So in future, no one from Career as
Sorry, I lost you. I didn't hear
can we
that
get
first
statement from
question.
Manish what you mean by TRN certificate? At Sim Consultants, can you please mute yourself? Alfred, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Could you please take us through
The questions.
Yes, please.
Someone is saying, please clarify the following. If for one reason or another you don't clear the full principal tax, will you benefit on the part payment made? Someone also from Beatrice, is the amnesty applicable to late tax filing related penalties charged? Amnesty is applicable to all penalties and interest for periods up to 31st December 2022. Okay. How will someone know when the application form is uploaded on iTax? Kindly share the commissioner's detail. Sorry. Hold on. What if one had paid a penalty earlier in the year? Can they apportion the payment to a different tax head and apply for the amnesty?
Okay.
Someone is also asking what is the process of filing for these amnesty forms? And is Priska is asking, do you mean that the interest and penalties without principal tax will clear automatically, or we have to apply for it? Someone, can you guys help sort out February 2019 VAA liability that was erroneously assessed on PIN ledger and continue accruing interest? Someone is also asking if one is not able to opt out of landlord registration because of some penalties, all rental tax was paid when property was under their management. 5 months later, it was handed over to a new management. They then stopped filing and penalties accrued. Does this one qualify for amnesty? Someone is also asking if they can get a tax compliance urgently. Okay, yes, you can. Depending, you can take us through that, Alfred.
Okay. So we'll start with the issue of monthly rental income obligation that we just finished with.
Yeah.
And it's possible to opt out of the monthly rental income regime when your circumstances change. They change in your circumstances. And for the periods from where the obligation, you'd have to demonstrate or when you stopped having this obligation and this, and so that the liability that has accrued from that day moving forward is helped by way of reversal. So there's a way to reverse those resultant penalties and interest, but on your part, you'll have to demonstrate that you need not have had the obligation for those periods. And the same for the earlier question about an erroneous obligation for monthly rental income. There's a way to have the obligation removed, and there's a way to also have any resultant penalties reversed, but on your part, you'd have to demonstrate that it's an erroneous obligation. The same would apply also for other obligations such as value-added tax and pay-as-you-earn. Then for the question about making part payment of the principal taxes, remember the law requires that you make payment in full of the principal taxes that are owing. And so where payment is not made in full, then you do not qualify for the tax amnesty. However, if you have various periods, and for some of the periods you happen to pay the principal taxes in full and leave out certain periods where you shall not have paid the principal taxes in full, periods for which principal tax will be paid in full will be helped by way of the amnesty, and those that will still have principal taxes owing will not benefit from the amnesty. So the amnesty shall be applied for each of the tax obligations you have and for each of the periods. And then, yes, Beatrice, late filing penalties qualify for the amnesty, and you will know when iTax is ready. We expect that the system is ready this September. However, we said if you must make an application today, there is a manual form that you can fill at the tax service offices, and so you'll be assisted to apply for the amnesty even today while the system is not yet ready.
Someone is also asking on the amnesty, is it applicable to withholding taxes paid late? And how do I know I qualify for it once I've paid the principal tax?
Yes, the tax amnesty qualifies for penalties from withholding taxes. Then to cover a few more questions received earlier, in case you had already paid penalties and interest earlier, well, we congratulate you for pursuing your compliance in all taxes, but there's no way to get refund for taxes already paid from your self-assessments or for penalties and interest that you had incurred earlier. However, like we said, we no longer have provision for waiver of penalties and interest, and so we encourage you to carry on this compliance so that you do not incur additional penalties or additional interest henceforth, because then the penalties incurred in the year 2023 from January will not be helped by way of the amnesty, neither will they be helped by way of waiver application. And so just to encourage that you carry on with your tax compliance. Then how to file for the amnesty, the system shall be made available, and there'll be a way to apply for the amnesty and propose a way to clear your principal taxes by installment. However, we've said there is also a manual form that you can fill if you wish to take that up before the system is ready. But we expect that the system will be ready this September. And we've also said that where there's no principal tax for periods prior to December 2022, then you need not make application, and these interests and penalties will be cleared by way of the tax amnesty automatically. And then the VAA issue is something under ICT resolution. We ask for your patience in this. Back to you.
They were asking if they're going to get confirmation later once they've cleared their liabilities.
So once you have qualified for the tax amnesty and the amnesty is applied, there's two ways to check. You can check your ledger and you'll confirm that there are credits posted. And then also, as those credits are being posted, you'll receive notification that shows that your amnesty has been approved, and we call that your amnesty certificate. So there'll be those two ways to check.
Okay, thank you very much, Alfred Sikuku. That was the end of our question and answer. I believe those are the only questions I've seen on the chat box. No more questions. Yes, this is going to be uploaded on our YouTube account. Someone was asking if this is going to be uploaded on our... Yes, we have a Career TV. It's linked to our YouTube channel. And we are going to... You can find our training there. So that was it for our today's training. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for listening to this session. I hope it was really helpful. Thank you, Mr. Alfred. And we can end by a word of prayer. Yes. So thank you, dear Father, Lord, for this amazing session, for this amazing taxpayers that we've had this session, and it was a success, dear Father, Lord. May you grant them more understanding of this. And as we end our session, may you bless each and everyone wherever they are. I pray this, trusting and believing in Jesus' name. I pray. Amen. Our session is ended. Have a lovely day.